This is lessons 1-3 and 1-4 combined, add and subtract integers. For example 1, we are just going to evaluate each expression. Problem A is 5 plus 2. We know that's 7. All we did was said, well, they had the same signs, positive, positive, so we just add and keep the sign. B part, negative 3 minus 9. That's negative 12. They have the same signs, negative, negative. We can treat subtract and negative the same way. So we kept the sign and we added them. For this next one, C part, negative, negative. We're going to add, get 14, and it's negative. Now for D through F, they have different signs. So we're going to take the difference and then take the sign of the larger number. So 7 minus 3 is 4. We notice that the sign of 7 was a positive, and that was the greater number, so we kept the positive sign. For 5 minus 6, we get negative 1. We can tell by looking at the fact that this larger number 6 had a minus sign in front of it, so we subtracted and took the minus, or the negative sign. And then looking at part F, we have a negative and a positive. When we subtract, we get 1, and the larger number was the positive, so I'm going to keep the positive 1. Now, for example 2, we have two signs beside each other. All we're going to do is multiply those two signs. So looking at problem A, 5 plus a negative 3, positive times a negative is a negative. So we get 5 minus 3, which is 2. For B part, we have 4 minus a positive 7. A positive times a negative is a negative. So 4 minus 7 is negative 3. For C part, we have 8 minus a negative 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. So we get 8 plus 2, which is 10. For D part, we have minus a negative. Minus a negative times a negative is a positive. So we get negative 7 plus 8, which is 1. For E part, we have plus a negative. When we multiply those signs, we get negative. So 7 minus 2 is 5. For E part, we have minus a negative. So when we multiply a negative times a negative, we get a positive. So negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. For G part, we have plus a negative. So we have 4 minus 4, but then plus a negative, we multiply and get negative 8. And 4 minus 4 is 0, minus 8 is negative 8. We just take the first two integers at a time and just go in order left to right using order of operations here. On H part, we have minus a negative. So that would be the 7 plus 8. And then we have, once again, minus a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive, so we get plus 2. So I'm going to say 7 plus 8, which is 15, plus 2 is 17. For example 3, use each number line to write an addition or subtraction expression. So on this first problem, part A, we went to the right 3 places. We started at 0, and then from there we went left 6 places. So we have 3 minus 6, which equals negative 3 is where it arrived at the end. For our next problem, we start at 0, we went to the right 4, and then we went to the right 2 more. So we have 4 plus 2, which is 6. For our last problem, we start at 0, we went to the left 3, and then we went to the left 5. So we have negative 3 minus 5, which is negative 8. Example 4, at 12 p.m., the temperature was 93 degrees. 5 hours earlier, the temperature was 25 degrees cooler. What was the temperature at 7 a.m.? Okay, so it was cooler. So it's 93 degrees, and it was cooler 5 hours earlier. So let's subtract 25 degrees to get 68 degrees. And 5 hours before 12 p.m. is 7 a.m., so we've answered our problem.